folks, this is going to be a different one for you. First of all, we've got 3 people. Second, you got somebody in the middle who you never have seen before.
Hi there.
But he's a very important guy, and this is a pretty important segment for us. So let me just tell you what it's all about. This segment is about our relationship with NVIDIA and what is going to happen not only over the next few weeks, but months and years. And therefore, it is my privilege to introduce somebody, actually, who I've known for quite a while. This is Nathan Hubler from NVIDIA, formerly as well, Mythic Entertainment. Hey, Nate.
Hey there.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
It's good to be in familiar company again.
I used to be his boss. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Your hair is much shorter here, much longer here, though.
Well, you know, gravity.
Yeah.
I want to tell you really what this relationship means. But before we do that, you see something here. Obviously, a duck. This is one of the flying ducks. This, on the other hand, doesn't fly. It is really gentle. We need to handle it very gently. And it's kind of cool. This is one of the prizes you folks can win during, you know, the BSC days. And rather than unwrapping it, because Genesee really wrapped it very nicely, we're going to tell you and show you exactly what it is.
It's a new graphics card.
But what kind of graphic card, Nate?
Well, this right here, the GTX 770. This is one of the top-end cards in our latest generation of graphics hardware, and this thing is going to fly. It's fast enough to render pretty much any game you want to play on the PC at the highest settings. But this isn't going to cook your computer. This is a see this back in the day. I think right around when I started working at Mythic. The top-end cards like this sort of had, this is what, 2 units, this would have been like 3-4 units thick, would have sounded like a leaf blower, and you wouldn't have had to heat your house in the winter because this thing would have easily like toasted your feet on your desk. This thing, however, runs pretty quietly and yet puts out a performance that, frankly, I still am amazed to see, you know, compared to what we had about 5-6 years ago. It's expensive, it's green, and it's very, very fast.
So why is NVIDIA here, besides just to bring, you know, really nice presents for the BSC days? They're here because we are thrilled, unbelievably thrilled actually, to announce what we're going to be doing not only today with NVIDIA, but what we're going to be doing over the next 2 years and beyond. So back at GDC, the recent one, not years and years ago, Andrew had a lovely conversation with a number of people at NVIDIA. We had been working with these guys already. We've known, of course, again, Nathan for a while. And, you know, they told us that they were, you know, kind of excited about what we were doing.
Like, not kind of excited. It was, oh my god, this is you're working on that? I'm so excited about that. I can't wait to play, like, you know, this game. Don't fuck it up, Andrew.
And so you guys, I just want to make clear, they're not just, you know, making up a story. I won't reveal who, but one of people I work with at NVIDIA, well, let's just say that they had a Camelot-themed bachelor party. It was just a LAN party. They all came together, and they, I guess, raided.
Yeah,
I guess that's what you would call it, but it's amazing. I mean, it's why I went to go work at Mythic, and it's amazing what a long-lasting kind of every day, or at least every month, I run into someone who was like, "Oh, those are the guys who did Camelot," and then I think everyone's really excited to see you guys bring a lot of that same inspiration and creativity here now.
Well, thank you. And that's, you know, that's only the beginning. So, you know, they had this great meeting, and ever since then, we've been working with them even more closely. And let me give you just a non-technical overview of what we're going to be doing together, and then Andrew and Nathan will talk more about it, and I'll step out because, frankly, they're going to do a better job than I could. So as part of this partnership, NVIDIA is going to be giving us, frankly, hey, the services part-time of Nathan and others to help us not only with the integration of what we've been working on now, which is, of course, their PhysX engine, but other things such as Gameworks and whatever, really technical assistance we require. And let me tell you, so far, these guys have been great. We have an epic thread going on how they have already helped us make our game better, and this is just the beginning. So they're not only going to give us Nathan's help, obviously we've been working incredibly closely with the PhysX team and the code. We had full source code access, so we've been going through that. They're going to give us other things as well to help us make a better game. And this is really important. One of the things that we've already talked about, not only here, but even before, this meeting was, we are here to do one thing, and that is simply to make this game better. There is no other agenda. There is nothing, secret under the table. It is simply to help push not only our game, but other games forward as well. And we are incredibly excited, to be part of that.
And I think that's something that, a lot of people kind of see the, PC graphics cards as, this team versus that team. Really, anytime anyone does anything to help a PC game developer put out a better game, that benefits all PC gaming as a whole. It's a situation where like a rising tide lifts all boats, and if NVIDIA helps us make this game better, that's going to be good for PC gaming as a whole. It's not really basically, we're not going to do anything bad for people who aren't using NVIDIA cards. Trust me.
It seems like, I don't want to make it sound like you're protesting too much, but I understand that there are a lot of people that have concerns about that because they see NVIDIA lurking around the background, behind all of your streaming, and they start to get a little paranoid. Conspiracy theories have sort of been started over less, certainly.
On the internet?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes, even there, conspiracy theories exist.
Jeez.
I'll send you some links there; they'll blow your mind. But the truth of the matter is that NVIDIA, before anything else, is committed to PC gaming. Not only because we find that that's where people are really pushing the boundaries for what you can do with graphics and with games in general, like. The fact of the matter is that it's where the innovation is happening the fastest. It's where companies that the size of you guys are able to do something new and flourish and really just like push the industry. You don't see that as much in consoles. Because the overhead is just that much higher, and frankly, the technology and the hardware doesn't move as fast. And I think our biggest enemy is the good enough in gaming. It's the let's just make another clone of some large MMO, or let's just make another military-themed shooter, or let's just copy the same graphics engine that we've used for the past 10 years to put out another annual sequel. The thing that PC gaming allows is it's disruptive. It allows for people to come in with a really good idea and a small team of people who really love what they're doing, which, looking at the small room behind me, I know you guys have here, and do something that it basically just blows the market open. And yes, that sells a lot of GPUs, and that's why we do it. We don't just do it to make money, we do it because we love games. But anything that makes other people get more out of PC gaming as well is going to help us. And I think that the whole purpose of Gameworks, both graphics work and PhysX, the purpose of that is to put a lot of those high-end AAA tools, the libraries that a small developer like you guys you could do, you're capable of it, but you just don't have time to code up and don't have the man-hours to really test and everything, to give you something that you can run with and really start hitting the ground from day one with a really, really strong foundation. I mean, it's just like, licensing a rendering engine, which a lot of small developers do, but a lot of small developers don't have people as talented as Andrew. But, you can license it in bits and pieces.
A lot of developers, just regardless of size, they have, a more traditional kind of scenario where, their goal is to make 50 characters look as great as possible, as opposed to make 1,500 characters run as fast as possible. So, it's a different set of trade-offs.
Sure, but I mean, if you don't want to go all the way and just license an engine that implements a bunch of that stuff, Gameworks still gives you those tools to implement the parts that you want. But like a great big Chinese or Indian buffet, since there's a really great Indian restaurant right around the corner here, a great big Indian buffet of options. And I think we just feel, like you said, that a rising tide lifts all boats, and that if we can push the limits of what every developer in the PC is doing quality-wise, and that means using things like Gameworks, but also just coming in and helping you guys tune performance on your own code, and that means making sure that drivers are working without bugs, and making sure that you guys are using best practice and they're just are doing everything right. That we're always there to help out. Then no matter what hardware you run it on, it's going to make the PC industry better. And we feel like if the PC gaming industry is doing better, we are going to make the best hardware, and so we're going to reap the benefits of that. That is our plan. Help the industry be the best it can be, and then create the best hardware we can, and make a lot of money doing it.
Well, it's a great plan, and I think what Andrew just said is a perfect lead-in for this, is that our challenges making this MMO are obviously quite different from non-MMOs. And already as we're working with NVIDIA with the PhysX code, the challenges that we see as we need not to have, as Andrew says, not 50 people all reacting properly, 1,500 people reacting properly is a whole different thing than what, obviously PhysX was originally written for, and so as it has been evolving and will continue to evolve over the next 2 years, obviously we here benefit, but NVIDIA benefits, and other developers who hope to use and hopefully will use PhysX and other things in the code for making MMOs will also benefit by our experience, working with you guys not only now but over the next 2 years.
Right, and so just to point out, the biggest thing that we're doing right now with NVIDIA is the physics engine, not just on the client, drawing some particles, things like that, but we're going all out with it, running all the time on the server for all the characters at once, and that's that's stretching it in some different ways, but we have a really great partnership where NVIDIA's engineers have just back and forth every day, and we've gotten it running several times faster for our scenario just by working with them and having them work with us, and that's really going to continue. And I'm really excited about just the potential to take PhysX and use it to do something really exciting with mass numbers of characters on the server.
And as Nate said and Andrew just said, let's re-emphasize, we don't know everything. Okay, are we smart guys, or are we all three smart guys here? Absolutely, but we don't know everything. Andrew's a great, outstanding programmer. Does he know everything in the world? No. I think I'm a pretty good designer. Do I know everything? No. Nathan, also a smart guy. Does he know everything? Of course not. And that's the beauty of this, because we're all coming in going, okay, how can we help each other? How can they help us make our code better? How can we help them as well? And that's the sort of stuff that frankly gets me pretty excited, because it makes our life easier. And if it makes our life easier, it makes the game better, it gets it done faster, and it helps you guys as our backers to enjoy it.
I talked about PhysX. The other big thing that NVIDIA is working with us to do, you might have heard of their Gameworks kits, which they're pretty much drop-in solutions that let you, bring in enhanced shadow quality, enhanced lighting, various effects like flames and turbulence, and we're going all in on this. And the thing with these is we're a small team, and we are building the game first and foremost. And originally there was some concern that, is this game going to look decent with the amount of resources they have? We are gameplay first, performance first, all the shinies second. And really what this does is it lets us just drop in the shinies as an extra checkbox, and the level of support NVIDIA has given us is really great. Of just here it is, and here comes Nate to help us hook it in, and it's almost like I'm still your boss.
Well, the customer is always right, I guess.
Yes, but the nice thing about this is that it's again. It's not that we are, super like NVIDIA all the things. It's the alternative is not having these things at all. So it's an optional checkbox for us. So the baseline is the game we were going to make, and then here you go in and check this box, and all of a sudden the game looks prettier, and that's great.
So that's a big thing, I think, with Gameworks. A big push with Gameworks is being kind of ready for developers to integrate. The old way that this used to work was all the major hardware companies, we'd have code that we wrote that we wanted to evangelize to developers to say implement this. Look at this really cool colored light that we have, or look, you can use the stencil buffer to create shadows. Isn't that going to be the way of the future? No. And here's some code to do that. Just look at this sample reference and then copy and paste in your code, and this isn't really going to work with the way you have your buffer set, so rewrite all this stuff. And that's pretty much the way it's been for the past 10 years at least, if not longer. But with Gameworks, what we decided was we sat back and looked at this library of effects that could be pretty generalizable, some of which had been written for specific purposes, but realizing that with just a little bit of extra effort, we could create something that's not quite a commercial product that we'd just that we put on the shelves, but is something that developers could pick up and put in with minimal effort. And by kind of doing that extra effort of polish, we could get that stuff out there a lot better, and save both you and us a lot of time and heartache. Not that I don't like hang out with you guys, but at least we can use our time more productively. Yeah, really all about the love.
Well, that's actually the key is that we wouldn't have done it otherwise. I mean, Andrew's dead on. We knew from the beginning that we weren't going to have the kind of staff that we needed to do all this stuff, and so it wasn't going to go in. Maybe eventually, over time, extender packs, as we're calling them, we might have added more. But with what NVIDIA is providing, not only for us but for other developers, guys, we can just, like Andrew says, check a box and it goes in, or check a box if your machine can't handle it and it goes off.
Right. I mean, it's basically just a huge dollop of super creamy icing on top of the game cake that we made.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm such a gifted linguist.
Yeah, that was perfect.
This is why I write C++.
So yeah, that's...
My code is poetry, I swear.
Actually, his code is pretty awesome. We had a pretty awesome day, too, today with you just deciding, hey, I'm going to rewrite all this and make this whole section of our code better. He puts on his headphones, half hour, an hour later, he goes, okay, I just rewrote all this, and everyone around here is going like, really?
Sorry, I just imagine that this office is pretty much like the last episode of Silicon Valley, just nonstop.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
I still haven't watched it. I'm too busy writing code.
Oh, good one. Good one.
Case in point.
We talked a lot about how PhysX is really, enabling us to do server-side gameplay and scale up to physics running at huge numbers of players, and doing all of our collision detection and things on the server to completely lock down any cheaters. It's actually kind of cool because we'll occasionally have bugs on the client where things will diverge, and well, I ran out to the other side of this wall, and everyone's like, no, you're still on the other side. You're still on the original side of that wall, and we're beating on you. Quit trying to wall hack with your bug.
Yeah, well, we found the great example. We call it the Superman jump, where, on the client, the guy tries to jump, there's a little bit of cheating, and he jumps all the way up. Nope, server was like,
Yeah.
Snap, right back to ground, just like a giant meteorite of kryptonite, it hit the guy.
But, there's also things that are going to run, client side for you guys to, check that box and see if you can, brown out your local city or whatever. So I'll just run down what we're doing. So from Gameworks, the things that we're almost certainly going to do, and this is all until we do the integration. We can't say 100% for sure, but we are bringing in the Postworks kit for depth of field and bokeh, which just gives you really nice, realistic things, get a little fuzzy in the distance, and really believable glows around light sources, as opposed to just the silly little lens flare all the things that some people get. TXAA is NVIDIA's advanced anti-aliasing system, and anything you want to say about that?
TXAA it's been an evolution of FXAA and a bunch of other research in anti-aliasing. The main thing it does is not only does it anti-alias an image pretty much almost as well as super sampling it would be, where let's render your scene as if your screen was 4 times as big, and then we'll just shrink it down. TXAA is surprisingly pretty close to that without nearly the same cost. But the T is actually for temporal, which means that it tries to use information from previous frames to eliminate crawling across the screen. So you're in this, you're on that ship and you've got ropes coming down, or you've got little blades of grass in the distance. Anti-aliasing that will kind of blur it out a little bit, but you're still going to see kind of jumps when it kind of crosses those little sample boundaries, and TXA tries to smooth that out as well. It's pretty magical, and it's one of those things that because we at NVIDIA, we control it, you guys integrate it, but we're still constantly working on that and constantly trying to optimize and improve the performance.
So basically better anti-aliasing for lower performance ability.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing that we're dropping in, ShadowWorks, is the toolkit to add really nice, it's called horizon-based ambient occlusion, and it just darkens corners, brightens up the surfaces facing directly at you, really kind of adds a believability to the light to make it pop just like in real life. And there's, I'm going to say MVSS. Can you explain what that is for people?
Well, MVSS is multi-view soft shadows, and it's basically, in the real world, your lights aren't little points, unlike in the computer graphics world where your lights are tiny little pinheads that are as bright as the sun. Real lights are big, and what MVSS does, and because they're so big, you actually get soft shadows around things. So things that are very near the light, will actually have a very, very faint shadow because you've got light coming around it from the sides. Things are really far, will have really sharp shadows. MVSS is one approach, and we have a few different ones, but MVSS is one approach to kind of get that real world shadowing instead of the kind of fake crisp edge black shadow everywhere that you see in video games. And what it does is it just it shadows it as if it were a flat array of light. So you've got a bunch of shadow maps instead of one. So for those scenes where you want a really kind of convincing, believable light, you can use that and get a much better result.
A few more things that we, these are a little more uncertain because they involve changes to how we're building our game content to really take advantage of, so we're not sure how far we'll be able to push them just with the art resources we have. With PhysX, it's not just bricks bouncing off of each other and throwing projectiles and collisions. There's also a really great cloth simulator that we want to bring in client side and get really nice physics on the on cloaks and capes and all of those good things. That's not going to be like every guy in a battle, but you and a few very close friends.
That little bit extra.
Yes. And same thing with Hairworks. And Hairworks isn't just, hair, because, well, not everyone has hair.
He does. He has more than either one of us, I think.
Yeah, it's Beardworks, it's Fur Coat Works, it's it's Wolf Pelt Works.
Man, some of the demos we have show just our fur coats and wolves and stuff, and it just looks amazing.
Yeah, and again, pretty much, if we can have the time to build that into our art assets, that will be really, really great. And we'll see what we can do. And the last thing is Waveworks, and this is way out there. I can almost guarantee it's not going to be in launch, but it's a simulation, a really great simulation of water and waves, and it's not just for rendering, it's actually a physics simulation too. So you can just you can stick a big Tesla board in your server and simulate water everywhere, and we're definitely probably not going to make that at launch, but maybe in a couple years, the Viking Mariner expansion,
it's gonna look really good.
Yeah.
Well, and by the way, speaking as somebody who obviously designed a number of the tiers to actually be around water, like No Man is an Island and some of the other ones, I would love to see it in, because I think that would just be awesomely cool. And that's the key for everything we're discussing right now, folks, is that this is stuff we would not have had. I mean, there was just no way in this or any other lifetime had we planned on adding a lot of this stuff in for launch. And now with these packages, with the, obviously the great tools that NVIDIA is giving us, we have a shot at getting some of this stuff in, whether it's at launch or, as Andrew says, maybe the next time this planet goes to Mars. But no matter what, it's going to go in. We hope all of it's going to go in at some point, right?
I hope so. I mean, I love toys.
Yeah, well, I mean, if anyone wants to see videos of some of these samples in action, we do have a YouTube channel. It's NVIDIA Gameworks. There are a bunch of videos from work we've done with other developers, and also just some standalone demos that you can look and kind of get an idea of what it is that's getting these guys so excited. And then we also have some more in-depth information on our developer website at developer.nvidia.com.
So thank you all for listening to this presentation. We've been kind of hinting at this, just so you know, Nate, over the last few weeks, and we've talked as well about some of the stuff we're already doing with NVIDIA. But I hope you all see how important this is going to be for us. Again, you won't have to have the most powerful computer on the planet to use the effects we're supporting, and as Andrew mentioned, we're using PhysX on the server side, so it really doesn't matter what kind of PC you have, and it's all going to be up to you. If you have a more powerful PC and you want everything turned on, you turn it on. If you don't have as powerful as a PC,
you get the game that we would have made anyway.
Exactly.
Well, I think that's the thing, is it's not that GameWorks is designed to make so people with lower end graphics cards can't play the game. What it is you guys are going to make the game to sell to your audience, and your audience has the hardware they have. And a studio your size, you probably wouldn't, you'd look at some of these features and say, this is great, this is beautiful, we love it. It's not worth the man hours to implement it. And what GameWorks does is it makes sure that if you do have that higher end GPU, you're able to give them the experience that GPU enables. So some of this stuff might not work as well on an older GPU, but that's fine, because like you said, you're building the game for those people. What we're doing is we're basically serving our customers who have paid money for an NVIDIA GPU and paid money for or won a GTX 770. And what that means is, by putting out GameWorks, we're making their experience better directly.
Which is perfect. Again, it saves us time, it saves Andrew, time, it saves the team time, and frankly, we couldn't be happier about it. We're incredibly looking forward, not only to the next, few months until we get into alpha, but the next few years and beyond, as we continue to work on Camelot Unchained. Andrew, do you have anything else to add?
I think that's all from me. Thanks to Nate for coming by, and we'll be seeing more of you.
Yeah, this is kind of different for me. Usually, the NVIDIA guys were used to lurking in the background behind the scene and letting all the
in the shadow works.
In the shadow works, yes, and all the hard and soft shadows, and letting
I haven't slept much.
letting all our friends like Andrew, who definitely don't get enough sleep or get enough credit, get their much deserved fanfare for the stuff they put out. So it's nice for you guys to let us kind of take the center stage for a little bit.
Well, again, thanks, obviously, thank you, Nate, for working, obviously, with us both at Mythic, and now as part of NVIDIA, working with us here to help make a better game, for all of our backers. So that's it for this segment. Just want to tell you, as always, there will be a Q&A after this, where Andrew and I, will be sitting in Twitch chat talking to you. But don't forget, we will have, as always, a prize at the end of all of this. So listen to the Mistress of Ceremonies, Genesee, and do what she asks you to do, and maybe you'll win something cool. So, again, as always, thanks for your support, and that's it.